How you going, boys? My name is Hybradge. I am a jungle coach that is currently ranked 92 on the Europe West Circuit ladder. I've also closing in on 2 years of pro play experience, so I know what I'm talking about. And in this video, what I'm going to try to do is, unlike other videos out there which teach you what to do in specific situations, I'm going to teach you fundamentals that you can apply to every game in order to win all your games, and not just one game. So let's just jump straight into it. In my opinion, there are 3 fundamentals when you're playing jungle that you have to pay attention to, and these are the only 3 fundamentals that are ever going to match in your games. These are the 3 fundamentals that win games. First one is XP and gold. This makes perfect sense, right? If you're playing a fight and you're higher XP or you have more gold, you have stronger items, you're going to win those games, okay? This is like very straightforward. Now, the second thing is objectives. I feel like this one is one that people know exists, but people often neglect, or people often don't know how to play around it, and something we're definitely going to focus on in this video. The third one, which is probably the most ignored one, is the win condition. Now, what I mean by the win condition isn't like objectives or like being up 4 levels or level 6 in casting. No, what I mean by a win condition is like a carry on your team that you have to get ahead in order for you to win the game. An example of this could be Jinx against 4 melees. Jinx is a really strong tank killer, so if you get her ahead, she will just stomp the game. Okay, so that's what I mean by win condition. And in this video, I'm going to teach you how to play around the win condition, as well as getting an XP and gold lead and securing all these objectives. Okay. In the early game, I think something a lot of players don't do is they don't do a pre-game plan. Now, in my opinion, a pre-game plan is completely OP. And here's the things I feel like you should think about in the pre-game plan. First thing is, who's your win condition? And I'm going to be honest, 90% of the time it's going to be bot lane. That's why you will see most jungle coaches ask you to path bot. The reason being, there's a temporal reason for Drakes, which we'll talk about in a second. There's 2 people in bot lane, so if you get a kill, if you get a successful gank, that's 2 kills instead of 1. The impact has 2 people instead of 1. Your Drakes are also on bot side, so that's easier. That's kind of the reason, right? So 95% of the time, it's going to be bot lane. Now, something you guys don't think about, however, is the enemy jungle pathing. And I want to show you guys a visual example of what I mean by this, okay? So I'm going to pull a VOD from Kire here. He's playing Elise, and you'll see what he does here is he starts Raptors. And he goes for level 2 invade here, right? And you'll see a lot of low elo players do plays like this. I'm not saying Kire is low elo player, obviously, but this is like a very low elo strat, very common low elo strat that people go for, cheesing, that people often lose games on because they don't recognize it, okay? So one thing I want you guys to think about in your pre-game plan is I want you to think about if this is a possibility, right? And if this is a possibility, what should your vision setup be? Okay, so let me give you an example, okay? So if Kire was to go 1 into 2, right? How can you, as red side jungler, prevent this? Now, a very easy thing to do would just be to ward here, right? And this isn't just only against Elise, this isn't only against Nidalee, this is against Graves, Pantheon, Kindred, Shinjao, all these champions go for this pathing, right? So if you recognize this, one very easy thing you can do to avoid this, to avoid being cheesed, to avoid losing a game so early, is just by warding, right? So this has to come into your pre-game plan. You have to understand this before you enter into the game, so you have the mindset to do it. So vision setup is really, really important, okay? It's a really underutilized skill, and when you're playing against champions like Nidalee, Pantheon, Graves, Elise, this ward right here is really, really important. Now, I did an unranked challenger recently on Volibear, and I noticed a lot of people cheese this way, and something I definitely recognize is you have to put vision, especially if you're below Grandmaster. Grandmaster and above, people cheese a lot less, but if you're below Grandmaster, you have to put that vision in order to prevent people from being able to cheese you, okay? So it's a really, really important fundamental that people often neglect. Now, the fourth thing is just pathing to win con. As I said, this is usually bot lane, so it's pretty simple. All you do is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 into bot lane. This is very, very simple, right? Now, you might say, oh, but what if I don't want to full clear? Well, let's talk about that a little bit, alright? Okay, so the first thing to talk about in first clearing is I think you should full clear pretty much every single game. And the question is, why should you full clear? Well, remember I talked about fundamentals. I want us to think about the fundamentals. Why is full clearing good for fundamentals? Okay, so look at it, right? Especially full clearing to bot, by the way, but we'll explain why full clearing is good without talking about objectives first, okay? So the reason why full clearing is good is because it's efficient. It's maximizing efficiency for your golden XP. How is that beneficial? How can full clearing do that? Okay, I want you to think about this, okay? I'm on blue side. I'm doing 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can do 5, 6, or you can do 5, 6 the other way. And imagine the red side jungler is doing this, okay? He's going to do 1, he's going to do 2, he's going to do 3, he's going to do 4, 5, 6. This is a bit of a ludicrous example, but you understand why. Why is it better to be on the left-hand side? Why is it better to be on the blue side than it is on the red side? The reason being, right, because you're maximizing efficiency. You're not wasting any travel time, right? You're just going very smooth. Very, very smooth, right? While this guy, he's going up, down, up, right? He's wasting a lot of time. So full clearing is always beneficial in that regard because it's very smooth, it's very clean. Now, the same thing applies for if you're going to go for like a free camp gank, for example, right? If you imagine if you're going here, 1, 2, 3, and then let's say you go gank, and then you have to go back to your camps. The next clear, you're gonna have to do the exact same thing because when you finish your raptors, this is not gonna be up because you went for a gank the last time. So you see how it's inefficient because you're not really using your time efficiently. Your camps aren't synced in an order, which is bad. Now you might be wondering, but hybridge, like I get a gank off, isn't that great? The thing is, what you guys don't understand is you'll get the same number of ganks off whether you full clear or whether you cheese gank. I'm gonna show you why. Okay. We use this exact same example, full clear, and you're going to do the cheese gank, okay? So this red side jungler is going to do 1, 2, 3 into ganking mid, right? That's one play point. When it's the second time this jungler can gank? Well, obviously, it's after this gank is one of them. This is the first gank opportunity. The second gank opportunity is after he takes all of these camps, right? Because if he ganks before, then his camps get taken, he gets invaded, whatever, right? So his gank opportunity is 1, and then it's 2. So he has 2 gank opportunities. Now, if you full clear, how many gank opportunities do you have? Okay, so you can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you're gonna have a gank opportunity after you clear, which is the first one. So you're gonna have 1 gank opportunity here, and you're gonna reset right after doing scuttle or whatever. Then you're gonna come back out on the map, and you have a second gank opportunity here. So whether you cheese gank or you full clear, you have 2 gank opportunities each. Why would you sack your own efficiency when you have 2 opportunities regardless? You know, you have the same amount of opportunities, so why would you sack your efficiency? It does not make any sense, right? The reason you can go for the second gank, by the way, which is something I forgot to mention, and something a lot of Emerald players struggle to identify, is because your Gromp won't spawn right away. It won't spawn when you get there, most likely, right? You'll have around 15 to 20 seconds to either look for a gank on top or look for a gank on mid before you go back to clearing your Gromp, okay? The other reason is also because you're going to kill your Gromp faster this rotation because you have items now. So you clear it faster, so you can be a bit late to it. If you kill this too quick, you're still going to have to wait here for the wolves, right? And you're also going to have to spike up. So people don't understand that whether you full clear or you cheese gank, you have 2 gank opportunities each, which is why a lot of people cheese gank. But cheese ganking is extremely inefficient and extremely bad for that reason. Now, let's talk about starting camp. Okay, so 6 camp against 8 camp clear. A lot of people like doing a raptor start into doing this, right? A lot of people like doing this. So 7, 8, and 9, right? So it's 9 camp clear, I guess. In my opinion, this is worse than a normal full clear. The reason being, if you do this, right? Let's say you do 9 camps, you're pretty much telling your lanes, I'm not going to gank you for the first 5 minutes of the game. So good luck to you guys. I'm sure enemy jungler is going to gank, but hey, I'm just going to chill. Like, you know, I might drink some beer. I'm just doing my 9 camp clear. I'm only going to farm camps. Enemy jungle can gank. I can't gank. And I think that's very bad for Soku because if you leave your lanes unattended, they're going to feed. You guys know this better than me. If you don't help your lanes, they're going to feed. That's why junglers get flamed all the time, right? Not saying it's jungler's fault, but that your lanes will mess up, and if you don't help them, they will end, right? So what can you do in a full clear that's better than a 9 camp clear? What you can do is you can help them, right? After your full clear, you can just help them. Here, after your full clear, you can't help them because you have to do scuttle, and you have to go back. Oh, you have to go back down to make sure these camps don't get invaded, right? Because let's say if you help top lane, this guy will come and take your camp, right? So it makes a lot of sense. So you have to stick to your clear, which is really, really annoying in Soku when your lanes tend to be able to end, right? So it's just not a good habit to have. Now, the only time where an 8 camp clear is good is when there's a reason to do it. So for example, if you watch my Volibear thing, if you need 1200 gold in your base, because for like a jack of all trade stats, right? You get 5 jack of all trade stats. If you need 1200 gold for your base, then an 8 camp clear is justifiable. Is it good? It's not great, but if you need 1200 gold, you have to get 1200 gold. The only way you get that is for an 8 camp clear, right? Or gank. So if you need the 1200 gold, it's fine. But if you only need 900 gold in your first base, or you don't care too much about gold, which is like the bulk majority of champions, don't do an 8 camp clear. Always just do a full clear. Normal full clear is way better. 1200 gold is good for champions like Volibear, Bel'Veth, even Lydia, if you're not going to run Inspiration. That 1200 gold is important, right? But if you don't need 1200 gold specifically, just go for the full clear and make sure you help your lanes. Now, you might be wondering, when do I skip camps? And I've got a visual example here that I want to show you guys, okay? So this game, this is one for my student. you can see the Volibear. You can see the Volibear right here. He's looking to gank mid, right? Then the Fury, who's my student, he recognizes this, and I think this is a good example of when you skip camps. Because he knows his Diana is pushed up, right? He knows there's a kill opportunity here, so he goes and counters this gank, which is a really, really good counter. It's worth skipping your camps for, because they get a kill off it, okay? So here, it's a really, really free kill, so it's fine to skip camps. And I only want you guys to skip camps if the kill is free. If the kill is not free, don't skip camps. Stick to your full clear. I promise you it'll be much better. It's the highest percentage play, but it's also just a much better play, you know? Don't go for maybe kills. Don't skip camps to go for maybe kills. Only skip camps to go for guaranteed kills. For example, this one right here is a guaranteed kill, okay? Going back to this, on your full clear, remember, you do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Make a play on bot lane. Do Scuttle Crab. If there's no other play on the map, insta reset. Most of the time, you're not going to have another play. What I see a lot of low elo players that coach and make mistakes on is they will like to linger around in mid lane for like 30 seconds, and now they're 30 seconds late to their camp for no reason when they couldn't even do anything here. If there's no play, you have to have the confidence to say, my job here is done. Let me go recall, let me go gank top or mid lane, and then do my second full clear, okay? That's what you need to think about. Do not linger around for maybe plays. Always keep your tempo. What we mean by tempo is that you'll be at your camp when it spawns, pretty much, for jungle. That's the easy way to explain it. You need to keep your tempo. You need to make sure you're on tempo. You need to make sure you're there when your camp spawns, okay? Now, with regard to what makes a good gank, we'll go through that in the ganking section of the video, so stay tuned for that. Okay, and the fifth thing I have is just avoid double scuttle if it's unless it's free. So it's pretty much just like, if you don't see enemy jungle on your scuttle, most of the time he's going to be on the other scuttle. Don't run all the way there to two-factor authenticate that stuff. You don't need to two-factor authenticate it, okay? If he's not on your side scuttle, he's probably going to be on the other side scuttle. Unless you see him on your side, like maybe ganking bot lane, then you can go for double scuttle. But if double scuttle is not guaranteed, just don't go for it. It's just a good way to lose drop tempo for no reason. But remember, the key takeaway from this slide is that full clearing is good because, one, it gives you the most XP and gold in the shortest amount of time, okay? XP and gold in the shortest amount of time, that's the first thing. Second, it allows you to go for objectives, okay? For example, when you're pathing to bot lane, which we'll talk about in a second, if you're pathing to bot lane, on your second clear, you'll be able to get dragon easily. So that's the second reason. So it fulfills two of the fundamentals we talked about in the slides previous, and that's why it's good. Now, before we move on, I want you guys to tell me something. This is a bit of a quiz. I want you guys to tell me if this is a good gank, okay? So I'm going to play it out here. So my student is the Fury. He's clearing from top to bot, and this is what he does, okay? So is this a good gank? Let's just see. Right, I'll just play it faster. He ends up killing him, but is this a good play? Why is it not a good play? Because even though they do get a kill, right? They do get a kill. Him being here means that all these camps can be taken. So sure, you might get 300 gold here, right? But you're also losing 300 gold here. And this guy's farming 9 camps. So he's getting like, what? 900 gold? You're getting what? 600 gold. So you're at a 300 gold disadvantage actually, because he takes away 3 camps from you and he gains 3 camps himself. So that's like a 6 camp lead off this, right? So the thing is, enemy jungle is going to have a 600 gold lead over you going for that, okay? So make sure you don't do plays like that. Now, let's say if the enemy jungler 3 camp ganks top lane, right? For example, let's say there's 1 Raptors, 2 red, 3 Krugs. What should you do as a jungler? Okay, so by the time he shows here, you'll probably be on your 4th camp, so you would have done 1, 2, 3, 4. What should you do as a jungler to kind of punish him for going for this play? Okay, so he goes for 4 on top lane, you just finish your 4 on Raptors. What should you do? Should you go A, enemy blue buff instantly, try to steal away 1 camp? Should you go B, to your red buff instantly and do your camps? Or should you go C, look for a gank somewhere, try and match his gank, you know, gank for gank, ban for ban like that? What should you do? The answer, without a doubt, is that you should be going for B, because just because he goes for a gank on top lane doesn't mean you should also, you know, try to go ban for ban, or it doesn't mean you should go for an invade on blue buff, right? Because if you do go for an invade blue buff, what happens? He will reset off this play with 700 more gold, and before you can even finish Gromp, he'll be back here. Because with the recently changed home guard, you are now going to get home guard after your first reset, okay? So if he resets and comes back out, he's going to be there before you kill Gromp. So what will happen if you guys fight? He'll be up 700 gold. He'll also be level 3 while you're level 3. So who's going to win? He's going to win, right? Because he has 700 more gold. So you can't go for an invade. Going gank for gank, again, you're sacking your own tempo. So the best course of action is you go to your red buff, do your red buff, do your Krugs, do your Scuttle Crab, and either invade him on blue or reset and then go invade him on red. Those are your two options. Okay, now that we understand sequencing, I think it's important to talk about invading on the first clear. So this is everything about invading on the first clear, how to play against it, and whether you should do it, okay? In my opinion, I think invading is a really bad thing to do in solo queue, and here's why, okay? So I think level 1 cheese invading, whilst it can be effective in elos, is actually a bad thing to do in solo queue. Why? Because I want you to think about the 3 fundamentals, okay? Gold, XP, objectives, and your team, right? So win con. So can you play for your win con? Okay. First thing, gold and XP. Are you going to get a gold and XP lead from invade? The answer is yeah, you will, right? You will get a gold and XP lead. Why? Because you get more camps, you farm more camps, you'll get a gold and XP lead. Second thing then is, will it help you get objectives? Now this is on the first clear, but let's talk about first 2 clears. Will invading help you get objectives? The answer is no, because if you spend time invading, you're going to spend less time doing objectives. Makes a lot of sense, right? Third thing, will it help your win con? And the third thing is, will you be able to help your win con if you invade? Again, no, because while you're invading, right? Let's say for example, okay, I do 1, 2, 3, I take his blue, I take his Gromp, 6, 7, 8, I gotta reset, now I gotta do the same thing. See how many more steps I have? Enemy team has 1, 2, 3, 4. He's gonna come back, realize his 2 caps are gone, and he can do whatever. He can gank top, he can gank mid, he can gank bot. While you're farming, enemy jungler is going to be helping his team, okay? So the question is then, is trading assistance for his team worth you getting a bit more farm? The answer, in my opinion, is no. Now, this is a controversial one. A lot of coaches have different opinions, but I'm going to give you my breakdown. I'm going to explain to you why I think it's bad, okay? So why do I think it's bad? Why do I think invading is bad? Number one, I think invading requires cohesion. It requires your team to work together. If your team griefs you, let's say if you go here for number 4 and 5, if your team doesn't move, and their team does, you die. So invading makes the game volatile. If you think you're the better player, you should always want to make the game as unvolatile as possible because you're the better player, right? So I think in that element, invading doesn't make sense to me. Second thing is, according to the 3 fundamentals, you do get gold and XP, but the question is, how much gold and XP do you actually get? It's a level 1 champion. Sure, you get a level 1 cap. Sure, you get gold, but the XP you get is actually not that much, right? So you're just going to be farming more level 1 camps. And not only does that not help you, also what you're doing is you're leveling up enemy camps before yours. So his camps are going to be level 4 the next time he comes down, while you have to go back and slave away at your level 1 camps. So whilst you finish this, he's going to have a full clear of level 4 camps. Okay, so he has 4 level 4 camps to clear, while you have to slave at this and then come back and clear, like, let's say level 4, and you're gonna have to wait like 40 seconds, and this is level 4 now, level 4, but when you're doing the level 4, this was like level 5, you know? So it's like, not only are you not really helping yourself too much XP-wise, because I want you guys to think about the game XP-wise more than gold-wise, right? Because in early game especially, XP is way more important than gold. Way more important, right? Because whoever's faster level 6 wins, whoever, like, you know, level 6 spike, level 7 spike, these happen a lot, right? So the thing is, not only are you not giving yourself a lot of XP, you're also taking away the ability to help your team. You're being very selfish. You're also depending on your team to make the right play if you were to invade, which in my opinion is just not good. That's why I feel like invading is really, really bad on the first clear. And I feel like you guys shouldn't do it, okay? Now, obviously, there's another argument that we talked about, which is a sequencing argument. Let's say if you were to do 1, 2, 3, and you invade his blue, and you come back 5, 6, 7, you just chop up your sequencing, which you just break your chain for no reason. I mean, for a level 1 blue buff, which in my opinion isn't valuable enough to cook yourself over, right? It's not good enough. It's not a good enough reason to mess up your sync. And we talked about this last time, right? It has to be a good enough reason to mess up your sync. Before we talked about free kills. Before we talked about good lane states, good a kill with your laners. Blue buff is nowhere near that level. So I think invading is not worth breaking the sequencing, it's not worth stacking your team, and it's also not worth depending on your team for cohesion. It's making the game too volatile. Not a good play, okay? Sometimes, I'm not going to say it's not going to work, because sometimes it may work, but the thing is, do you really want to put the game in your teammates' hands? Do you really want to take away all power you have in the game? I would say that is a bad decision, and I think I can convince you. I think I've convinced you why, right? Now, because of this, I want you to kind of like just think about this, okay? I'll give you guys 3 seconds to think about it, right? Let's say you're blue side jungler, right? You're this jungler right here, and I'm this guy, okay? You do 1, 2, you're clearing towards bot lane, right? You know bot lane's a win con. You're a smart man. You're clearing down to bot lane, okay? You watch this video, you understand bot lane's a win con. So you're doing raptors into looking to bot lane. Sorry, into your, about to go to your red. But then you see me 1, 2, 3, and you see me ganking top lane. Now, the question I have for you is, right, I'm right here. So I haven't done, these camps are all up. Okay, so these camps are all up. And you see me here. My question is, what will you do here? Okay, so I'll give you 3 seconds to think about. What will you do? Think about sequencing, think about everything. What should the play be? Now, a lot of you guys are going to tell me, oh, well, hybradge, I should go invade the free camps, right? They're free camps. We should go invade this. He went free camp top, he's trolling, right? All his camps are up. I can get like 1 camp. You're right, you can get 1 camp. And that's all you're gonna get, right? Because once this guy makes his play, he's gonna reset, come back out on the map with home guard. Remember, they changed home guard. So this is why this is new compared to before. Other videos out there aren't gonna talk about this, right? So now you have home guard when you come out from base. So what does that mean? That means by the time you walk here, right, and take the blue, he will be here to contest you on the Grom. So you can never take the Grom. Okay, so you're only getting 1 camp here. Now, what you should instead do, and also he's gonna have 350 gold on you, right? Because let's say he gets a kill, he'll have if he doesn't get a kill, he'll get 300. If he gets a kill, he's like 600 gold on you. And you guys are both gonna be level 3, right? Because you need 6 camps to be level 4. Here you've only taken 4 camps, right? Because you've only gone the blue and your raptors and your top side. So the thing is, you can only get 1 camp, and is that worth it? To mess up your clear with red buff and Krugs? The answer is it is not worth it, right? So instead, what should you do? So instead, what you should do is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What do you do after that? You go for the Scuttle Crab, and then you fight him on blue buff. Now, or you don't have to do Scuttle Crab. You can fight him on blue buff and do Scuttle Crab, right? This, whatever choice you want to do, it's fine, depending on what the game says, right? Now, why do you want to do this? The reason being, because now, when you fight him, you're going to have an advantage. Why? Because you're level 4, he's level 3. Right? You have 2 camps, you have both buffs, he probably only has 1 buff, right? So you have this lead now you can use to actually abuse on him, which is a better invade. What is the main reason why this is a better invade? Why is this a better play? Because you're keeping your sync. Instead of ganking bot, right? Instead of remember we talked about your plays after your full clear. Instead of making the play on bot lane, you make the play on an invade, which is perfectly fine. Again, it's fine if you make the play after your full clear. It doesn't matter what play it is. If you make it after your full clear, it's perfectly fine because it doesn't mess up your chain. So, my answer to you guys is when people are doing level 3 ganks on top, which is very common, don't insta punish them. Don't look to insta, oh, let's go insta. We have to punish now or we miss the timer. Don't do that. You don't need to do that, right? Wait a moment and then do it after. Now, the best choice to actually do when they do level 3 camps is they always start raptors, right? When they go for this. They always do it. It's like Talon, Parving, Nidalee, Parving. They always start raptors. The better thing you can do actually is this. Okay, so this is a secret hack. You'll not have heard this from anyone. This is something my coach Dem taught me, which is a very, very valuable lesson I learned a year and a half ago when I was still a youngster. Okay, so he told me what you should do is you should go Scuttle Crab, right? Reset. Instead of taking this blue buff, which is level 1, you come back out on the map and take his raptors, and then go back to your full clear. And his raptors is going to be level 4, right? Because he started them, so it's going to be level 4. So instead of taking a level 1 camp, you can actually take a level 4 camp. Now, whether you want the blue or you want the raptors, that's your choice. I'm just giving you information. You can choose. I will tell you for sure the raptors are better. But if, let's say, you don't think you can get the raptors because your mid has no power or your top has no power, then sure, you can go for the blue buff. But the main takeaway here is don't look to insta punish people. Don't look to insta invade. Invade when your full clear is done. Don't break your full clear for some crappy little invade that gets you 1 camp. It's horrible. It's such a bad habit. Get rid of it. Do it after your full clear. Don't lose anything. You want to go for invades that are called free invades, which means invades where you don't lose anything. What are free invades? When you finish your full clear. Those are free invades. Okay, we don't need to hop on that too much. Now, I want to talk a little bit about how you deal with invades. Okay, so I've got a few examples here. So the first example I'm going to point out is this game is against Closer. For all of you guys that watch LEC or any LCS, this guy played for 100 Thieves and Carmine Corp, right? He's a pretty good jungler. So you'll see here, this brother just he kind of rocks up to my camps, and he just yeets them in front of me. It's Pantheon, so I couldn't do anything to secure it, right? But because I know I can take the small ones here, I stayed. So here, this is an example of being able to stay if you know you can get the small ones. The reason I know I can get the small ones is because he only has 1 Q, right? His Q is around 5 seconds CD, so you can never Q it twice, whereas my lightning will take all the small ones. So I know here we can share the camps 50-50. So he'll get the big one, I'll get the small ones. Perfectly fine, right? So in these situations, if you know you can get the camp, right? You can stay and fight, obviously. If you know you can get the camp, you can stay and fight. So this is the first example of invades I want to talk about. The second example is let's say is a one where you get cheese killed. Okay, so that asked me why I'm in the Batman outfit here. Today was not a good day. You can see I was 2 and 5. Okay, I walk to my camp, I die. I'm like, okay, crap, I didn't even see them there, right? Because I was zoomed in. I died, right? How do you deal with that? So if enemy is starting your red buff, what can you do? Well, the easy thing is just full clear. That's the answer to everything, is full clear, right? How do you do it? Okay, so let's just go into Rifka and let's explain this a little bit. Okay, so enemy jungle, this brother right here. He's doing your camp, I'm here. What I do is, okay, I know my red buff is gone. Now I need to see if my raptors are gone. Okay, so I need, wrong video. Now I need to see if my raptors are gone, right? So I'm gonna look here. Okay, and now I know my raptors aren't gone. Why? Because you'll see here, I press tab, I can see this guy only has 4 CS. We know he only has 4 CS, so he only took my raptors, right? Red buff. So I know I can just do a full clear and be happy with it. I can do 4 and 5. Now, what I also could do is I can do a raptors if I know it's free, and then do my raptors and krugs. Okay, so the thing is, when enemies invading you, the best thing you can do is get as many camps as you can wherever they are. Try to get them if you can. What you don't do is go for reckless invade. Okay, so what I do here is pretty much a perfect example of what to do. Okay, so he takes my red buff. I go do my full bot side. I'm level 3 now, so I know right now I'm level 3. Even though he's has 3 kills, he's still level 2, right? So I know if it's level 2 against level 3, I'm going to win this fight. Because levels, again, are the most important thing in League. XP is always more important than gold. So I know right now, I'm winning this fight, 100%. So I can go for this invade, right? And you can see here, it's pretty much a risk-free invade. I don't do, like, Nidley will never fight me because I'm level 3, he's level 2. So I just get the free raptor camp. And then, what I do, I insta go back to my clearer, get it, and we're chilling, right? We're absolutely chilling here, right? This is very, very good. So somehow, I managed to get 24 CS. I still managed to farm 6 camps, despite what happened already. Now, the thing is, you're like, oh, but Nidley got 3 kills, isn't it worth it? Let's see what happens here, right? Let's see what happens. So, Nidley gets 3 kills here, but because I'm level 4, this is actually a perfect example of talking about why XP is more important. He has 3 kills right now, right? But because I'm level 4, this fight I can never lose. You can see here, I'm just stomping him, right? Like, I'm legit stomping him in this fight. Because I farmed my camps. So the key thing is when you're playing against level 1 invades, the only thing you need to understand is farm as many camps as you can. Don't go for reckless invades, right? This invade here is not reckless by me. This invade on raptors is not reckless by me. Why? Because I know I have a level lead. If he was level 3, I'm not going for this invade ever. I'm just going to farm as many of my camps as possible. The only reason I go for this raptor camp is because I know I have a level lead. Now, will I go for his red buff? No, because Aurora has power, their bot lane has power. I can't go for red buff. With raptors, you have this advantage where you can pull it out, right? You can see here. You see how I'm waiting here? You see where I do the camp? This is a complete safe zone because I can run out, right? I have a free area to run out. If I was to go into the red buff, there's no way I can run. There's a freaking, I have to walk all the way here, right? I have to go all the way this path, and I will for sure die. So it's really, really important that when you get level 1 invaded, you need to know how to respond. And the way you respond is by farming as many camps as you safely can. Can you invade the enemy team? Yes, if you have power, sure you can invade. If you have power in mid and bot, sure you can invade his red buff, you can invade his raptors. But if you don't have power, you can maybe go for the raptors if you have a level lead. If you don't, just farm as many of your camps. I promise you, level 1 camps mean absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of things. You might be behind 1 level early, but when it comes to 10 minutes into the game, you're going to forget that even happened, okay? Now, let's talk about level 1 invading on the opposite side. So this is the 3rd version of level 1 invades. I know we've talked a lot about invades, but this is something that's tough, right? So here I'm playing Beowulf. I just did my full clear on bot side, and you can see here, I realized, wait. Volar Bear took all my camps, okay? So, based on what I talked about just then, what is the thing you should do in this situation, okay? So let me break it down for you. What I'm seeing right here is I have top power, I have mid power, right? You can see my wave is pushing in, and you can see my top wave on minimap is pushing in. What does that mean? That means I can invade him, right? Because right now, he can't have taken all of his camps. Even though he's Volar Bear, he could not have taken all of his camps, right? He's only gone, like, at most 1 extra. So he's probably done my 3 top camps and raptors. And I come here to check if he's done raptors. He has, right? So I know he hasn't done red buff. Now, why can I go for this invade? Why is this invade not reckless? Because I have power, right? My team is there to back me up. And also Beowulf, so I win the, so I'm not weak in the 1v1. So what I do here is I take his red buff, and you can see even though I get invaded, I get a kill, I get a dive here, and this is a pretty, oh, this was a bad play, obviously, because I missed my W, but we got the dive off. This is a big grief. Don't worry about the play. The mindset is correct, right? But how you deal against opposite invades is pretty much you have to ask yourself 2 questions, and these invades are going to be the most common invades you play against. So this one we're going to spend the most time talking about. Okay, so when you're on bot side, let's say you're on bot side, right, and you're clearing to top lane, 1 2 3, which is what happened this game. You come all the way here, you're like, oh, my caps are gone. you have to ask yourself 2 questions. 1, which lanes do I have prior in? If I have prior in top lane, I can invade top side. If I have prior in bot lane, I can invade bot side. If I don't have prior either lane, you have to gank. Okay, so that's 3 questions you have to ask yourself. Do I have prior top lane? If I have prior top lane, we invade top. Do I have prior bot lane? If I have prior bot lane, we're invading bot. If I have no prior in either, I'm ganking mid, top, or bot. Because you can't farm any camps. Because if you invade, you're just going to die, right? So where will you not die when you invade, when you gank? Because why? Because this guy's going to be stuck, like, he's going to be stuck clearing his own camps. He's got 6 camps to clear, right? So you know this Volibear, or whoever you're playing against, there's no way he's going to freaking, like, come and counter gank you, right? He's just going to clear his camps. So you know every gank you make is going to be a 3v2 because he can't help them, because he invaded you and he's stuck clearing his camps. This is kind of the thing I talked about, trading farm or level 1 camps for ganks is not worth, right? Because even if I'm this Volibear, yeah, sure, I got 3 of your camps, but I'm stuck clearing while you can gank. It's just not good, especially in all the elos below Grandmaster. Grandmaster above, maybe it's fine, but below Grandmaster, people are going to die to ganks. They're going to ping you. So sure, you might be 6 camps up, but you're also going to get perma pinged. You will not be able to play the game, and your team is going to be your team is going to feed, which is just not good, right? Okay, let's talk about the final version of invades. I know we've rambled on a little bit, which is level 3 invades. Okay, so here, this is a VOD from my student. I feel like he did a really good job here. Shout out Gabriel. So here, he does his camp, and he realizes Lee Sin took it, right? So he did the right thing. He knows Lee Sin greater than Mundo already. He does it with the 1v1. So what does he do? He says, okay, what I'm going to do is farm as many camps as I can. So what he does is farms his Krugs, and then he resets. Because he knows if Lee Sin kills him, fights him on red buff, he's going to lose. So he makes the perfect decision. I can only farm my Krugs here. I'm going to reset. I think this is a really good play because it's kind of ties into everything we talked about today, right? When you're being invaded, right? You probably made a vision error or your team made an error. So your job is to mitigate it. Your job isn't to go, let's go get revenge. I'm angry. This guy took my camps. No, it's a level 1 camp. It doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. Okay. So what he does is he says, okay, sure. You got my raptors. Maybe you're going to get my red. I can't fight you on it. I'm the weaker jungler. Your mid lane has power. Your top lane has power. What I'm going to do is I'm going to farm as many camps as I can, which is camp number 4, right? And then reset. And I'll come back out on the map and I can clear my camps again. And this time, my Raptors is going to be level 4, my Wolves are going to be level 4, my Krugs are going to be level 4, my Goblins are going to be level 4, while you will be stuck clearing level 1 camps on here. So sure, you might have more CS than me, but the XP is still going to be the same, right? Because I'm going to be farming 4 level 1 camps plus 4 level 4 camps, while you, on the other hand, are farming 9 level 1 camps, right? So sure, you might have a CS lead on me, but I have the XP lead on you, or I've even an XP in you. So I think this is a perfect example of how to play against level 3 ganks. If you don't have Pyro, give your camp, farm as many camps as you can, take the reset, and then you'll be happy. Remember, if I can teach you one thing from this slide, level 1 camps don't mean much. Okay, I know we've talked about things that are kind of difficult now, so let's come to a very easy pit stop, okay? Ganking. Right, very, very simple thing. Let's get into it. How do you identify a good gank? There's 4 main criteria. 1, you need to have damage and CC. You need to have damage, you need to have the CC. 2, you need to have good wave state to gank on. If the wave is on the enemy tower, unless you can dive, you can't really gank, right? Because you just slide to a tower, especially in the early game. 3, you need to make sure they have no vision, or that their vision is irrelevant. Or also, you need to make sure you have vision on the enemy jungler. Right, so can he be there? Can the enemy support be there if, let's say, you're ganking top lane? Can the enemy mid lane be there if you're ganking top lane? More high elo, but still stuff you have to consider. 4th thing you have to consider, where is the enemy jungle? Can he be here to counter gank? Now, let us look at some examples. Okay, this example is an example of a good gank. Okay, so right now, you're gonna see here, enemy Ezreal. If you look on the minimap, right, enemy Ezreal is very pushed up, so he's around down here, right? Enemy Ezreal is right here. He's very pushed up, right? So we know the wave state is a good position to gank, right? Because he's very pushed up. Now, other things you have to consider. Do they have vision? At least sweeps here. So we know they have no vision. So that's 2 criteria satisfied. Enemy Volibear just took Drake. So he's going to be up here, right? So that's a 3rd condition satisfied. So if we run down here, he won't be able to make it in time, right? He's not in a position where he can counter gank, right? Because right now we're looking to make a fast play. 4th condition, do we have the damage? Do we have the CC? Belveth plus Elise, I'm going to say we have the damage and CC, right? So let's just watch here what happens, right? Watch here. Boom. We come down. Boom. And what happens? We kill him. Now, this is a very stereotypical gank. There's not much to talk about, right? But you can see when these 4 conditions are satisfied, this is a super free gank. You knew this was going to work from the start, right? So these 4 conditions are really important. Now, I will say, not all conditions need to be satisfied. I'll show you an example. Dives, for example, are where like, let's say you have a poor wave, even though you might have a poor wave state, right? The wave state might be horrible. Dives still work. For example, look here. Why does the dive work? Because he's so low HP that we can make it work. So another thing you need to think about is what the enemy HP is, right? Sure, the 4 things are important, but what is the enemy HP? Can we make a play on him? Here, because even though we don't have the wave state, right? We have more than sufficient. Even though we don't have the wave state, we don't have the second criteria, we have more than sufficient damage and CC. We have more than sufficient vision of the enemy jungle, right? We knew enemy jungle was bot side. You couldn't see it from that video, but we knew enemy jungle was coming top to bot. So this is an example of how you don't have to have all of them if you have some of them that are really, really strong, right? So let me show you an example of a bad gank now. This was against the rank 1 jungler in Europe, Manati, and you'll see how it does work, okay? So I'm going behind. Why does this play not work? Why does this play not work? Why is this not good? Because we lack wave state, right? We didn't see the wave state. My team can't follow up. We don't have the CC, right? It's just me that has CC. Nautilus Hulk can be flashed, you know. So we don't have the necessary things to kill them here. So this is an example of a bad gank, right? Because here, Nautilus can't Q because there's a minion there, right? So we don't have the CC and we definitely don't have the wave state. So now, whilst wave state isn't always going to be important, oftentimes it is still really, really important, right? It's still really important, but these things, I can only give you indicators of what makes a good or bad gank. You have to judge for yourself, right? You have to look at these 4 factors. What do you have? What do you not have? Can you go for the gank? That's a judgment call, and I think the best advice I can give you is test your limits. If you think it's a maybe gank, go for it, and if it's on tempo, go for it. And if it doesn't work, you know for next time it doesn't work, right? If you don't try, you'll never know if it works or not. So it takes a lot. Ganking is all about repetition. It's all about practice, okay? Now, the next thing is I want you to think about, this is a more complex thing, but very good for players stuck in Emerald or Diamond, this sort of elo, is visualize the gank. Think about the gank before you go for it, right? Oftentimes you'll see people just go for ganks, it doesn't work, and they play the ganks wrong. And the reason they play the ganks wrong is because they're not thinking about the gank. They don't understand what they should do to make the gank work. Every time I go for a gank, I think about the gank first in my mind before I go for the gank. When you visualize the gank, you need to understand what your job is. So are you the engager, are you the follow-up, or what are you actually doing there, right? Okay, so for example, in this gank, who should be the one that is the engager and who should be the follow-up? Now, should it be A, Volibear, or B, Mel? The answer is always going to be Volibear. Why should Volibear be the point of engage? Well, because Mel's snare, Mel's sort of CC is a skill shot, right? So when you throw skill shots, you want to throw skill shots at someone that is already CC'd, so it guarantees it landing. Now, is Volibear's Q a skill shot? Nope, it is not a skill shot, right? So you want to be the guaranteed point of engage so the Mel can follow up. Does that make sense? So if you watch here, why does this work? Because I have a guaranteed stun and my Mel can follow up, okay? That is the exact reason why this works. And you see here, he dies. I think some factors you can look at from this gank as well that are good is, you see how I run down a little bit before I show him vision. You see I'm running this way, right? I'm anticipating his movement because I know, where's Veigar going to go? He's not going to go down, is he? He's going to go here. He wants to go to his tower. So I'm walking towards where he's walking. So I'm not actually walking at him. I'm not walking like this. I'm walking like this, if that makes sense, right? Because that's where you always want to go. You never want to, if you're chasing someone, right, on the street, you don't want to chase where they're going. You've seen those movies like Tom Cruise. He's not running at them. He's jumping over buildings, jumping over walls to go to where they're going to go to. And that's the same thing for ganking. You're not going where they are currently. You're going to where they want to be. And where this Veigar wants to be is his tower, and that's where I'm going. So you see here, I look at my movement here. I'm running down. You see where I'm clicking? You see my click here? You see where my mouse is? I'm not clicking here. I'm clicking right here. So I'm anticipating his movement and doing it. One thing I would say about all this is showing on vision is also another important thing. I think this is a pretty good example of it. It's not great, but it's the best one I can find. Is you can see here, because I know Volibear and Pyke are around, I don't show on vision until I need to. So I'm not walking like here, right? I'm walking as close to terrain as possible, so you see me as late as possible. So you can see here how it pays off, right? You can see here I'm walking close to terrain, so this Ezreal right here, he doesn't even see me. This Volibear right here and as blue buff doesn't see me. Pyke doesn't see me, which makes for a very easy kill, right? Because right here, they just see me right now. So I think it's very important as well to take long terrain. And this is something Tarzan talked about a lot when I was coming up at the ranks, when I was Platinum and Diamond, right? This is something I watched Tarzan talk about. And he talked about how it's important when you're ganking that you hug walls. So let's say if, for example, like we'll do it on Riftkit because it's easier. Let's say if you're a red side jungler and these guys are here, what you want to do is you don't want to hug this wall. You want to hug the wall here. You want to hug this wall. Because then it gives them the less time to react and you're already behind them, pretty much, right? So you're dodging all the vision and you're as far behind them as possible. So that's something Tarzan used that I still use to this day. I still think about when I'm ganking. Very important, you take far terrain, okay? So the same thing can be for top lane, right? If I'm ganking this guy, I'm not going to gank from here, right? I'm going to gank from here. I'm going to walk here, right? So I'm going to hug his side. I'm going to hug the side of terrain where he wants to go to maximize the chances of success for the gank, right? So these are also other important factors that you have to think about. Not just the 4 factors we talked about earlier with regards to ganking, but also these factors. Now, one more thing I want you guys to think about. I know we said it'll be easy, but this is a very simple thing, right? I want you guys to think about fundamentals. Is this gank towards the win con, right? I'll show you an example here. This is the theory I think we looked at earlier in the video, right? You can see here he does top to bot, and now he skips his bot side camps to go top. Is this gank towards the win con? Let's look at the draft, right? Is the gank towards the win con? Do we care about Smolder getting ahead, or do we care about Caitlyn getting ahead? Obviously, we care about Caitlyn getting ahead, right? So not only is this gank bad for Nefarious tempo, this is really bad because of tempo, right? Tempo reasons really bad. But also, it doesn't fit the win con at all, right? So you need to make sure when you go for ganks, they have to be for your win con. If they aren't for your win con, I want you to ask yourself a few questions first. If they're not for your win con, I want you to ask yourself a few questions. Is there something else we can do that's good for the win con? For example, our objectives more important. Can we go for Drake instead of this crappy little gank? Okay, if we can't, sure, we can go for it. But if we can't go for Drake, then what else can we do? Can we gank another lane? That's better for the win con. For example, here, can we gank Caitlyn lane instead of Smolder lane? Can we do that instead of ganking this Smolder Jace lane? Can we maybe invade to put ourselves further ahead instead of ganking? Would that make more sense? Right? So these are all really, really important factors. Now, also, the main thing here, the main issue of this gank is obviously not the win con. It's the fact that he has free camps up on bot side and he's ganking top. So really important to think about tempo as well for ganking. I know it's not as big of a factor when it comes to non-clearing that people think about, but still very, very important. Is this gank good for you with regards to your chain? Does it break your chain? If it does, it has to be worth it. If it's just one kill and nothing else, it's not worth breaking your chain for, I promise you, okay? So always ask yourself, is this gank on tempo? Very, very important question. No jungle coach will tell you that outside of me, but really, really important to remember. Okay, we've kind of gone through the easy part of ganking now. Now let's talk about objectives. Someone once told me, for objectives, if you showed them what the map looked like 30 seconds before the objective, they could tell you which team would get it. And I honestly agree with this quote. It actually makes a lot of sense to me. And here's why, okay? So I think for objectives, it's kind of simple in solo queue. In the early game, your timers are 2 full clears into Drake. Grubs are 2 full clears plus 2 camps into Grubs. So it's really, really simple, right? So let's look at a perfect example of it, all right? So here you can see I did 2 full clears, right? I did 2 full clears. So this is my second full clear right after it. I do Drake. We get the Drake. Very simple, right? You can see it. The timer is around 6 minutes. So that's kind of what I wrote down here. After 2 full clears, you should do Drake at around 6 minutes. This is what you want to achieve every single game. You want to repeat the process, right? It's same thing every single game. It is the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We go for the Drake. Easy money, right? That's what you want to achieve every single game. Then, let's talk about Grubs. What do we do for Grubs? Now, for Grubs, it's just Drake. So after you do the Drake, all you have to do is add 2 more steps and you do the Grubs. 1 camp, 2 camp, and then Grubs. All right, you can also do your 3rd camp if you're greedy and you're sure you can get it. Sure, you can do that, right? So you can see here, boom, 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 and we get the Grubs here, pretty much. We'll kill him and then we'll get the Grubs. You will see, right? So we get the Grubs here. Now, the important thing is, why does it work like that? Why is it so easy for me to get Grubs and Drake in this game? What do I have? Well, to get an objective, it's very important. There's only 4 things you really need. Prior. So what does prior mean? Prior means wave and condition. So it means that your teammates need to have a good wave state to move on, and they need to have a good condition. What does condition mean? HP and mana, okay? I have a video covering objectives only out on my channel if you want to watch it, but here I'll kind of skim through the same facts. It's not that complex, it's pretty simple, right? So you need to make sure that when you're playing for an objective, let's say if you're playing for Grubs, right? Your mid laner needs to have HP, mana, and wave, right? So you want the wave to be at enemy tower, and you want them to be able to move. Now, why should the wave be at enemy tower? Why is that good? Because then your mid laner is not losing any minions, right? Because the white tower is going to be killing your minions, so then your minions won't be killing the enemy minions. So when your mid laner can move and still come back and farm the enemy minions, right? So that's why wave is important. Okay. you also want your top laner to have the same, have these three same things. Okay, so that's what we call, that's the first criteria. That's what we call prior. Okay, so prior is not only just the wave states, it's wave and condition. Very, very important. A lot of people come into my stream and say, hybradge, I ping to do Drake. They have a good wave, but they're just not moving. Well, there's a reason they're not moving. They might be low mana. They might be low HP, right? You're not looking to factors like this all the time. You have to look at factors like that. Just because they have a good wave doesn't mean they can move, okay? Second thing you need to have, vision and info. You need to make sure you have vision of the surrounding areas so you can go for it. Now, if you don't have vision, it's also fine if they're dead. So that's what we call info, right? If you know they're dead and they can't contest, very, very obvious. Here, why does this work? Why can I go for these grubs? Why does it make sense on YouTube? Because we killed the ambassador here, right? So here, my top, even though my top layer doesn't have prior, right? I'm just like, stuff it. I'm going to kill this ambassador solo. We kill the ambassador and my top layer can move because he has a freeze on top lane. You can see we have no vision of their top side at all. But because we have info that ambassador's dead, we know they can't contest the grubs, okay? So vision is just important. Third thing for objectives, always, it doesn't hurt your tempo too much. You don't want to do objectives when you have 5 camps up. That's stupid, okay? Your golden XP matters just as much as objectives, especially in the early game. If you fall behind in golden XP in the early game, it is really, really bad, okay? So around level 5, level 6, if you fall behind then, sure, you might get the objective, but you're losing the next 4 objectives. So greeding for an objective when you have 5 or 6 camps up is really, really bad, okay? So just make sure it's on tempo. The last thing is you need to make sure you win the 1v1, 2v2, or 3v3. Now, this only matters if they're coming to contest. If they're not coming to contest, it doesn't really matter, right? So if this is more for like, if you did a bad job setting it up, if you don't really have full prior, like if you have half prior, like, you know, you push the wave in, but the wave is only like 3 CS, then you need to make sure you win the 1v1, 2v2, or 3v3. Otherwise, it doesn't matter, okay? So, an example of half prior, I actually have one right here, is this game. Okay, so I'm playing Belwolf here. You can see here, we do have prior, right? We've got prior. We're all 3 of us are here first. Enemy Garen is still mid, but this prior is, we don't win the 3v3, right? So you can see here, this is an int by me, right? That we lose this fight. So even though we have prior, it doesn't hurt the tempo too much. We have good vision and info. It doesn't matter because we lose the 1v1, 2v2, or 3v3, right? So even if you have all 3 criteria, you might still not be able to get objectives if you lose the fights badly, which in this game we do because the Pantheon is a broken champion and Belwolf is the worst champion in the game. We all know that, right? So remember, you need to make sure you have all 4 criteria satisfied or that your prior is big enough for the 3v3 to not matter, okay? Here, if you look here, right, you can see the wave on the full screen here, right? That the wave is pretty much pushed in. Like you can see Fiddlesticks here. Okay, here it is. Fiddlesticks has cleared all the minions, right? However, it's not good enough because we just don't win the 3v2. We don't win the 3v3, right? So we end up losing this, okay? So objectives, very, very important that you have all 4 criteria set out. You have all 4 of them. Now, a good example of an objective here is right here, okay? I do the Herald and I have a vision on here. I have vision here, right? So you can see I have vision, here. I have vision here. I have vision here. I know they can't rotate on me. I know they're not contesting. That's all I needed to do the objective. Very, very simple. We get the Herald for free, right? So it's really, really important. But I think the main takeaway for this still is that this is how you want to play an objective game, right? You want to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You want to make a gank bot happen. You want to make a gank top happen. 10, 11, 12, 13. Let's do the Drake as our 14th step. Reset. 2 camps, 15, 16, into the grubs. So 17 steps of your early game should always be the same, okay? You should always want to maximize playing for objectives, ganks, and whatever, and this allows you to do that, right? You get 2 ganks off, and you get 2 objectives by doing this. So it's a 17-step process. It pretty much all includes, it sounds complicated. It sounds 17 steps. Wow, so hard. Not hard. 1 full clear, gank, 2nd full clear, objective, recall, 2 camps into objective, 6 minutes, 8 minutes. Remember the timers. Once you have the timers down, objectives are really, really easy to play for. This is not a hard topic at all. If you are struggling with this concept, I have a full objective video out. It's like 25 minutes long, but trust me, this should be enough. It's not that hard, okay? Just remember, the only objective time you need to think about, 6 minutes on Drake, so that's after 2 full clears, 8 minutes on grubs, after 2 full clears plus 2 camps, okay? So you can see I put it down here. That's all you need to know. Okay, we've talked about everything regarding objectives. Now I want to talk a little bit about cross-mapping. Sometimes you're going to have to give up objectives. How do you get something back if enemies are going for objectives? Well, you go to the other side of the map, okay? Very good, very, very simple thing. If enemy is doing, let's say, the Drake, right? Are we just going to sit here idly and let them take the Drake and get nothing from it? Like, are we just going to clear to here, let's say we're clearing to bot, right? Let's say we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's just say this second Drake or something. Are we going to come here, watch them take Drake and say, hey, good job. I'm not going to get anything back. You're welcome for the free Drake. Happy days. No, what we're going to do is, if this looks sus, right? If it looks like we can't get the objective, what you have to do is you need to reset, go back on the side of the map and try punish. You can take enemy camps. You can look for a gank. You can maybe look for the herald trade if the herald's up. You can look for the grub trade if the grub is up. You can do all of these above. What you can't do is sit there and try to force entry to the objective. You saw it here in this battle of play, right? There's no way I can ever get this objective if Zyra's here. They have all the setup. Their Pantheon is stronger. Like Pantheon is his spike, right? He's strong. There's no way we can get this. This is a very bad play. If you brute force an objective, it is never going to work. Okay? Only go for the objectives if they're under good conditions. The conditions are the ones we talked about in the last slide, right? Right here, right? These are conditions we talked about. If you can't go for it, what you have to do is you have to cross map, okay? So this cross map thing applies to everything, but I want to talk about objectives first. If they're going for an objective, I want you guys, every time they're going for an objective, you either look on mid lane. Let's say if they go for Drake, you look on mid lane and top lane. If they're going for grubs, you look for mid lane or bot lane, okay? Or if you can't get a gank off, look for these kills. Now, look for their camps. Take their camps. Take something. It doesn't matter. I don't care what you take. It could be Herald. It could be a kill. It could be one camp. That is better than giving up the Drake for nothing. You have to trade something back. And that is the essence of cross-mapping. This idea of cross-mapping isn't only for objectives. People often neglect you can cross-map kills as well, right? Let's say if enemy jungle is ganking my top laner, right? Let's say my top laner is here, which is what happened in this game, right? My top laner is here. And I'm right here. What should I do, guys? What am I supposed to do? I have to trade something back. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. That's like Newton's first law, I believe. So what is the equal and opposite reaction? Well, obviously, it's a gank bot. It's to take his camps. We have to get something back, right? So here you can see that Viego right now will see his top lane. Okay, we'll see Viego is top lane right now. We see it, right? You can see on the minimap, Olaf is losing a lot of HP, and we see Viego's top. Okay, I know. Okay, you see him now, right? He's top lane. What can I do to generate something back on the other side of the map? Very easy. I dive bot lane, right? You can see here, it's a Draven lane as well. Look for the E, boom, 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 and what happens is we kill him here, right? So we trade something back. This is a perfect example of cross-mapping. They gank top, I gank bot, I get 2 kills, you get 1 kill. That's why popping bot is better. I told you guys before, right? Popping bot is better because of this. Perfect example, right? You're trading things. It might seem simple, but it's a thing people often don't do. I need you, every time they make a play on one side of the map, I need you to every time trade something back on the other side of the map. Very simple, fundamental, but often neglected. Okay, now let's talk about one of the things people get confused with the most, the mid game. This is the part where people often fumble, often give games away. This is very important, okay? Biggest tip I can give you, don't just farm without no purpose. Always farm with a purpose, okay? The area of priorities I would put is objectives are the most important, towers are the second most important, then comes vision, then comes kills, then comes farm. That should be the order in which you think about things, okay? If you think about it in this order, it will definitely help your priorities, okay? For example, right? If I was to play for dragon, right? I'm full clearing into the dragon. So I'm doing this, into this, okay? I'm not just full clearing randomly. I'm not full clearing here and then like, oh, I don't know what to do. I'm full clearing into the dragon, right? Likewise, if I'm playing for herald, what am I going to do? I'm going to clear into the herald, right? I'm going to clear here into the herald, right? Very, very simple. You always want to have a purpose. Now, the part where people are the most confused is what happens when objectives are not up. How do we clear? What are we doing when we clear? Do we just full clear of no purpose? The answer is no. What you do is clear towards your strong side. And what does that mean? What does clearing towards your strong side mean? Okay, very simple. Every game, I want you guys to look at your side laners. Who is stronger? Your mid laner or your top laner? Who is the one that's going to carry you? Okay. For example, let's say if you have an Akshan, which I'm going to show you an example of, right? And he's super fed, then you want to clear towards the Akshan. What does that mean? I want you to think about your Akshan like an objective. How do you clear into an objective, guys? You want to clear into the objective, right? You don't want to clear away from it. Why? Because then you can go and help the objective after your full clear, right? Remember, the idea of a chain allowing you to make a play at the end of a chain doesn't change throughout the game. That chain stays constant throughout the entire game. So if my mid laner is ahead, I want to full clear into him, right? Because then I end up on the side. I finish my clear at the side where my mid laner is. Then we can make plays with, right? So that's what I want to do. Now, let me show you a visual example of this. So this game, my Akshan is really far ahead, okay? So you'll see here, my Akshan is really, really strong. So right now, my Akshan is in bot lane, right? Look at my camp stop. All my camps up. what should I do? Where should I begin my clear? I'll give you guys 3 seconds. I talked to you about the concept. What should I do? Where should I begin my clear? Answer is, I should begin my clear on top side, right? Because I want to clear into the Akshan. So, if my Akshan is fed, I want to clear into him, right? I want to clear downwards. Because then I end up on the side where he is, right? So throughout this game, the way I approach this game is I'm clearing into him, right? If I need to skip camps because he's in danger, I'm ready to skip camps. So I'm always looking at him. I'm always keeping my eye tracked on his lane. Is he in trouble? If he's not in trouble, I can keep farming camps. If he is in trouble, as you can see here, I talk about, you have to skip your camps. Also, it's very important that you put down protective wards. In this game, you'll see right here, I actually have a protective ward here. Don't ask me why I'm wearing a Batman outfit. I have a protective ward right here. So right here, which is really, really important. You want to make sure he has some sort of info to play with, right? So whether it be a control ward or a trinket, personally as a jungler, I like keeping trinket until 16, 17 minutes, but you can take a sweep or whatever. You just need to make sure you give him some protective vision, okay? But the main thing is you're always clearing towards this guy, right? And if this guy's basing, what am I doing? Okay, so my Akshan is basing right now, right? What am I doing? I'm basing as well. You're pretty much like your strong side's dog, okay? Your strong side's the strongest member in your team, right? Either your mid or your top laner. Everything he does, you want to copy. So if he's resetting, you're resetting. If he's bot side, you want to clear into bot side and be with him bot side. Why do you want to do this? What is the reason for this? The reason is because he's your strongest member. You want to involve him in every single play, right? It's much easier to play with someone that's fed than someone that's not fed. Because when someone's not fed, you can't win the fight. When someone's fed, they have what? The fundamentals, baby. Golden XP. They have higher gold, higher XP. They make the fights easier. So you always want to play for them. Now, the main takeaway from mid game that I want you guys to take, if there's only one thing I want you guys to take, is this is your step, okay? I want you guys to, this is like a 4-step thing. 4-step thing. One, in mid game, I want you to figure out who is your strong side. Who out of your mid and top are stronger? Who's stronger out of these two, okay? Then I want you to say pathing, okay? How am I going to path into them? Always clear into them. So if your mid laner is stronger and he's bot lane, pathing. You clear into bot, right? Just like I did in the example. Third thing, I want you to make sure he's safe. So what does that mean? That means you're always looking at his lane. Does he need help? Does he need vision? You need to be there to provide vision, support. Very, very underrated. Very, very important. Okay? Fourth thing, I want you to mimic him. If he resets, I want you to reset. If he stays, I want you to stay. Now, obviously, objectives are more important. So when objectives are up, you don't have to think about your strong side that too much. Okay? When objectives are up, you're thinking about the objective. So let's say my Akshan was bot, right? And Herald's up, I'm clearing into the Herald, not the Akshan, right? Because I always want, objectives are always going to be the main focus. They are fundamental, they are always our main focus. But if there's no objective, we come to the second fundamental, XP and gold, right? Then we play for the XP and gold. Where is the XP and gold? Your strong side. So then you want to play for them. So do the 4 steps, mimic him, protect him, play with him. This way you'll make sure he's in all of your plays and gives you the highest percentage to win the game. Okay, so mid game, very important to play towards your strong side. Very underrated tip. Okay, so now let's talk about late game. This is the part where I think I have the most unique perspective out of anyone you can find. Because I played professionally, I understand how you can create these advantages more so than other people. And I think it's really important that there's a way you can do it, okay? So I'm pretty much in late game, it's full objective focus. You don't want to farm unless your team is not on the map. If your team is on the map, you want to be with them. Why? Because they need you to take vision. So every time your teammates are taking in vision for an objective, you have to be there. Otherwise, people get caught. Okay. Now, when we talked about objectives, we always talked about clearing into the objective. Okay. For example, if we were going to play dragon, we're clearing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into dragon, right? In late game, it's completely different. In late game, there's actually a 4-step rule you go for that isn't clearing the objective. What you do is actually you want to open the other side of the objective 2 minutes before, so 120 seconds before. You want to push out that side, you force the enemies to respond, then you utilize the numbers advantage to take vision and force fight. And it'd be like, hybradge, that's so confusing. How about you put down Rifkit? Let me do that. Okay, so let's say if we want to play Baron, right? Let's say if we're going to play Baron, we'll make it more realistic. Your bot lane should be mid, enemy bot lane should be mid, right? When you want to play Baron, what you need to do, what I want you to do as a jungler, 2 minutes before this Baron, I want you to begin going there, okay? Begin going there. So you want to be here at around 90 seconds before the Baron spawns. What I want you to do is I want you to push the lane out, right? And then walk to the Baron side to get vision. Now you'll be wondering, why would we want to push the other side of the map if we want to go for Baron? It doesn't make sense. Power is on the other side of the map. Let me explain. By pushing the other side of the map out, right? By pushing bot lane out when you go for Baron, you're forcing someone on the enemy team to respond. Someone now has to respond to the play, right? This guy has to now respond, but he has to deep push it. Why? If he doesn't, they lose waves, they lose towers, they lose gold, right? So he has to respond, right? So enemy mid laner is stuck bot lane. We pretty much say he's stuck bot lane. What can my mid laner do? Since the wave is pushed, he can freely move up without losing anything. He doesn't need to TP, doesn't need to do anything, and you can do the same thing, right? So you guys all move up. What does this create? What does this situation create right now on the top side of the map? What it creates is a 5v4, right? So right now it's a 5v4, right? So any fight you take right now is a good fight. Because this guy's stuck bot lane and you have a 5v4 here. You can take all division, you can take this, you can even go for the Baron. Let me show you a game example of this, okay? So this game I just played today. So I did the exact same process. So pretty much you can see here I pushed bot lane, right? 30 seconds before Baron spawns, 24:30, Baron spawns to 25, right? We go for this whatever play here, right? But then because Orianna, you see how Orianna and Nocturne are stuck here? It means right now we get the Sona pick, and now we get access to this Baron side. So we see here what happens. By the way, keep in mind, by the way, we're behind here. We're 51.7, and all the gold is on me and Nico, right? So what we get here is we get all the positioning, right? Nami's staying in the wrong spot, obviously, because this is shit low. So Nami's staying in the wrong spot, right? But we get all the positioning here, which allows for us to go for this fight. This really good fight, right? We have all the positioning around Baron. We get this really good fight. We get the 3-man ult, and we get this, right? So you can see here, even though we're behind, because we have good macro, we win this play. And the macro is just pushing out the other side of the map 2 minutes, around 90 seconds before Baron, then moving towards the Baron and forcing a fight. You don't have to force the Baron always. You can force a fight. That's probably easier. But in the elo like this, where people are good enough, like this Nico is good enough to drop an ult, forcing the Baron to force a fight was more than sufficed, right? So that's kind of the play. So I'll explain it one more time. Pretty much what you want to do is 90 seconds before Baron spawns, push out this wave, move in, take the 5v4, while the enemy mid or top lane is stuck here responding. That's what you want to do. Talk about how you want to end the game. I think this is pretty simple, so I don't really need a visual example. Pretty much all you want to do is you want to get Baron, then you want to play 2 inhibs. So you only want to play 2 lanes of Baron, right? The reason being, if you play 3 lanes, right? Let's say if you were to play this, right? Let's just say this, right? What does it open up? It makes it easy for enemies to pick off these guys because they're on their own. When you play 2 lanes, when you play like, let's say 1 and 4, let's say 4 people here, 1 here, you can go help them easily, right? You can't help this guy here if you're on top, you know? It's impossible. So you want to play 2 lanes of Baron, and what you want to make sure you don't do is you don't want to farm when you have Baron. You do not want to farm unless your team is not on the map. For example, here, in this game as well, right? We can see this. So we get the Baron here. Okay. My team int here, right? My team int here. My Caitlyn int here. What does this mean? This means I can farm, right? Because my team is dead. If my team is alive here, I want to use the Baron. If my team is dead, I can farm. If your team is not on the map, you can farm. Otherwise, never farm when you have Baron. It is the biggest grief ever. Your objective when you have Baron is what? Your objective is you want to make sure you knock down all these inhibs, right? Once you knock down all these inhibs, you get the Soul, you get the Elder, Artican, Baron, the second Baron, you get all of this. Main objective is you have to knock down the 3 inhibs. Once you knock down the 3 inhibs, don't be overzealous here, okay? So I want you to look here. This is something my student did wrong here, okay? So he gets the Elder here, and look what he does. He just runs in, overzealous. Look at where his team is. He doesn't look at where his team is. He dies. And this game now becomes risky, right? They still get the end, but you don't want to do that. What you want to do is you want to be patient. When you have Elder, when you have Baron, when you have these objectives, you need to be patient. Let the wave end for you. Don't run in and try to end yourself without a wave. That is really, really bad. Let the wave end for you. Now, you don't need 3 inhibs to end, but that's what I'm saying. Maybe you get 1 extra good team fight and you win, but the objective should always be 3 inhibs. It's not needed, but that should be the objective, because you can't expect the enemy team to run it down. That's not a good way to think the game, to play the game. You always want to plan like they're doing the correct thing, and that's how you win the game, okay? So the objective is always 3 inhibs, then you let the wave kill the Nexus towers. Don't be overzealous, wait for your team to be there. If you're playing champions like Volibear, Skarner, you can go in when they have turrets up. Otherwise, let the wave do the thing, and that's it. Okay, now let's talk about late game team fighting. I think this is the part where you'll probably benefit the most from my personal point of view. For me, late game team fighting is very simple. You need to visualize the fights. I talked about visualization for ganks, but visualization is 10 times more important for team fighting. Very simple. Identify what your win con is. Play for it. Identify what the enemy win con is and deny it. For example, if I have a very fed Kai'Sa, I'm playing to enable that Kai'Sa. But let's say if the enemy is a very fed Zeri, I'm playing to deny that Zeri. Now you have to find the balance between enabling your win con and disabling the enemy, denying the enemy win con. The way you find that balance is who is stronger. Is your Kai'Sa stronger or is the enemy Zeri stronger? Okay, if the enemy Zeri stronger, you have to flash on him. You have to crowd him. Don't let him play the game. If your Kai'Sa stronger, who cares about the Zeri? Enable the Kai'Sa and you win the game. It's that simple, okay? Another thing that's important, track important cooldowns. If their flash is up, don't go on that guy. Go on someone else, right? Do they have ult up? If they have no ult, you want to force a fight then. These are really, really important. The most important tip, visualize the fights before you play them. What is your job in the fights? Remember before we talked about, are you the primary engage? Are you the follow-up in ganks? Same thing for team fights. Are you the primary engage for team fights? Are you the guy going in or are you the follow-up? Okay? If you're losing team fights, what I want you to do is instead of playing a 5v5 mid, right? What I want you to do is I want you to go, let's say it's a 4v3 mid right now, right? I want you to go into a side lane, push this out. Just we push it out. What do? We force this guy to stay here. Then we force a 5v4 by moving from top lane down. Okay? Very, very simple. Push out once. If you're losing team fights, push out one side. Make sure someone on the enemy team is stuck there. And then team fight with the 5v4 numbers advantage. That's what we want to do. If you can't win a team fight, go free side lane. Okay? Very, very important. Don't just keep brute forcing fights. It's a very low thing to do. When you're above platinum, you should be good enough to be able to push one side and then force a 5v4. It is not a hard concept. I promise you, it might sound difficult. You're like, oh, but my teammate's not going to move. I guarantee you, give it a try. And if it doesn't work, you can flame in the comments. Okay? It's that simple. Push out one side, then force a 5v4 with numbers advantage. If you can't win an even fight, abuse the numbers advantage. Okay, let me show you an example of bad team fighting. Okay, so this is an example from my student. I think it's a pretty good example. I think it's a pretty good showcase of what a lot of players make mistakes on. So you see here, my student is Nefiri, right? Look at how he plays this fight. All right, let's look at this. Why is this a mistake? Why is this play here a mistake? What makes this play a really bad mistake? The reason it's a mistake is look at where his team. You can't even see him on the screen, and he's going in like this. So the biggest mistake loyal players make is they do not track where their team is. I guarantee you, the biggest tip I can give you for team fighting is play with your team. That is the biggest tip I can give you. All the way into Challenger, it is the same thing. In League, it used to be, oh, you have to dive backline, you have to do this, you have to do that. Now, whoever kills the first target wins the fight 99% of the time, right? So you can see here, what is he doing? He's not focusing the first target because his team is not there, right? You cannot go this deep. In fights, you have to track where your team is. Do you see where his team? He doesn't see his team yet. He's dead. His team just arrives as he's dying. It's really bad. You have to play with your team. If you don't, you're griefing. The biggest tip I can give you is play with your team. Okay, now I kind of want to show you some good examples of team fighting. Okay, so I want you to look here and see what I do in this fight. Okay, so I told you guys, going for the first target always wins you fights, and this is a really good example here, right? We see Aurora is really knee deep on into my team, right? So I know if I just kill her here, we make this fight a 5v4, and the fight becomes much easier to play, right? As I said, for killing one target first makes the fight infinitely times easier. League is not like it used to be. Team fighting is all about who kills the first person first, okay? So what I do here is I insta go on him, right? My team follows up, he dies, and you can see in this fight, because of that, the next sequence of this fight, you can see, again, I'm always playing with my team. I'm never over. You see, guys? Do you see how I'm always in line with my team? Always same line with my team, right? I never go past this line. Now, I go on Zaya, obviously, because I can. And you can still see here, like, I'm running back from feathers, but I'm still running away from the damage. Like, I'm running towards where my team is, right? My team is positioned in this area. So I'm trying to stay in that circle, okay? So you can see here, I'm still trying to stay in the circle. You see, I'm not running where they can hit me. I'm still connected with my team, right? The entire time. This is what we call a good team fight. I did all the things I'd asked you guys to do, right? Number one, I played with my team, right? Team, this is the most important way. I played with my team. That's the most important. Number two, I went first target. And number three, when we were winning the fight, I didn't go to where they had damage. I went where they could not hit me, right? So it's going away from danger. Away from danger is a very, very important thing. If you can play with your team, kill the first target, and play away from their damage, I promise you, you will win 10x more team fights, okay? But just remember, these are the 3 rules. Play with your team, kill the first target, play away from the enemy damage. Really, really important. Let me show you one more team fight before we go. I think this is a good example of what you can do if you get mispositioned, okay? So here, you can see here, Singe flips me. Singe will flip me here, right? And it's kind of weird, right? But you can see I'm instant running back to my team because, again, you want to play aligned with your team, right? Now, here, I play this team fight really well at the start, right? Like you see here, I'm always with my team. So that's why when they're attacking me, what's my MF doing? My MF is ulting all of them, right? So this is why playing with your team is so important. You see here, I'm still playing with my team really, really well. See, again, where am I going? I'm staying with my team, right? Now they're all low, so I can ult in and I kill them. And even though I die here, it's still really, really nice, right? Because I can get the heal. Because again, you see here, right? Look here, once I ult, what's the first thing I do? Playing with my team. I'm going back up to my team, right? This is all people say I'm very good at teamfighting. People say I'm very good at teamfighting. I'm not much better than you guys. The only thing I do differently to you guys is I play with my team. The first thought process is always, how do I sync up with my team? How do I play with my team? That's the first thing you always have to do. Second thing is first target, okay? Play with your team, first target, have these 2 rules down, and you are going to win 10x more team fights. Okay, finally, before the end of the video, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about mentality. What helped me improve? What got me from Bronze 5-0 OP to Challenger? What works for me? I'm not sure it works for you, right? But that's what works for me, and I'm going to tell you my experiences, okay? I'm not no Jordan Peterson. I'm not like going to help you solve your issues, but this is how I approach the game, and I think it's the healthiest way to approach the game, okay? The way I think about it is losing is part of the game. You're going to, if you don't lose almost 50% of your games, winning will mean nothing, right? You have to lose to be able to enjoy winning. So the first thing is, people are often like, they hate losing. You can't hate losing. It's part of the game. Embrace it, right? Embrace losing so you enjoy the victories. Otherwise, if you're just winning every game, I promise you it's not going to be enjoyable. Nobody wants to play against beginner bots. People want to struggle. The struggle is part of the game. So don't be too mad when you're losing, okay? One thing someone in my chat told me the other day, which I found is really, really important, is don't take one game into the next, right? Shout out Dunker, by the way. If you're very, very tilted for one game, don't take it into the next game. Don't get mad in the next game. If you realize, yeah, I'm not emotionally stable, you have to have the discipline to say, you know what? Either I'm going to queue on my Smurf tonight, right? Or I'm just not going to play. I think it's very, very important to have a Smurf because it allows for you to still play when, let's say, you're not mentally all there, right? Let's say if you're not focused, or let's say if you're angry, you can go into that Smurf and play. I think it's very, very important. I've always had a Smurf. In fact, I used to never play on my Smurf. This year, when I played on my Smurf, I hit my highest peak ever by plus 200 LP compared to before. So it's really, really important you have a Smurf that you can kind of, not vent on, but something you can probably play a bit more chillaxed on, okay? Another tip I have for mentality is I always blame myself. It's easy to blame people, guys. It's very easy to blame people. And I'm sure most games, it probably is. Your teammates are probably playing bad. But you also make mistakes. Nobody loses. Even I. Like, I'm Challenger. I'm top 100. I make mistakes when we lose. Always. Like, every game, I promise you, I've made at least 3 mistakes. Look at your mistakes. How can you better yourself? Don't look at other people. You're going to see them once, probably once in your life, right? They're going to int you. You're going to have interest sometimes. Blame yourself. What can you do better? And try to change that, right? Try to improve upon that. That's what you have to do to improve. Otherwise, you're just going to stay the same ever, always, right? If you just blame people, you have to be able to blame yourself. The way I do is I try to play all the blame on myself. Every game, I say, nah, this is my fault, I'm losing. And if you watch my stream, I will often say that. People say, oh, but your bot lane's inting. Yeah, but what can I do better to help my bot lane? If my bot lane's inting, am I not giving them enough attention? Am I not ganking them enough? Do I have to clear in a different way to help them? Now, obviously, I do the chain clear now, which is the best clear, so I know I can't change in that sense, but sometimes I think, okay, maybe I need to give them more vision, maybe my wards are bad, stuff like that. You always have to review and blame yourself, okay? Second, another thing I think about is 1 or 2 losses don't matter. You're going to have these games where someone's intentionally running you down. He could be 0-15. These losses happen, okay? If you play well most of the time, you're going to climb. I promise you. If you play well most of the time, you're going to climb. That's just how the league works, okay? The probability says you're going to get these inters once every 10 games, right? If you get them more, unlucky for you. I promise you though, the more you play, the more you'll learn. Don't worry about 1 or 2 losses. Worry about the general picture. Are you playing well? If you're playing well, that's all that matters. Last thing I want to say is I think this is a really, really important thing is avoid being toxic. A lot of people are toxic out there, and I honestly sometimes succumb to that, right? Like sometimes I'm also a little bit toxic. It's easy to get mad at people. If you find yourself being toxic, what I do is I mute myself instantly. If I know I'm about to be toxic, I mute myself instantaneously. I never try to spread toxicity. This can only hurt your team's chances of winning, but also you have to understand these people are real humans you're playing with, right? Imagine if you're playing in basketball. Do you see people flaming their team a lot? I mean, there's that one time LeBron and Mario Chalmers, but you don't really see people flame their team a lot, right? You have to uplift them. They're your teammates at the end of the day. Avoid being toxic. I know it's easy to be toxic at them, especially when you don't see a face, you don't see a person, and you see their disgusting gameplay. But try not to be toxic. Try to blame on yourself, and I promise you, you'll be much better. How to improve. Obviously, you can buy the hybridge coaching. You know what I'm saying? That will help you. It's cheap, 35 euros for a session, 90 minutes. I'll probably give you the best quality coaching you can get. Under $100. I think I do it well. I've got good reviews. You can go into my Discord and ask the people that have been coached. I think another thing is, let's say if you don't have the money, is just review your VODs, right? See what you're doing wrong. And try to look at what you're doing wrong. Like, for example, I used to have this issue where I was losing every second drink. So I looked back at my VODs. Why am I losing every second drink? And I realized the reason was because I was being inefficient with my time, right? I was clearing towards the objective, but I was always slow towards the clear. I would always go muck about top lane before that. So what I realized is I had to cut out that nonsense. I had to cut out that inefficiency, and that helped me get these objectives. That helped me get better at securing objectives. So that's that's a really good skill, reviewing your VODs. I actually have a video on how to review your VODs on this channel. I did it ages back, but the same rules still apply. So if you're struggling to understand how to review your VODs, just go look at that video, okay? Reviewing your VODs is a really underrated skill. I know it's kind of tedious to do, but if you're really looking to improve, it's probably the most OP way to improve. Final thing is, I think, watching OTP and pros. I stream every day at twitch.tv/hybradge. I'm not saying you have to watch me. You can watch other players. You can watch friggin' Rylick play, or you can watch who's good in Europe right now. You can watch Inspired is really good as well. You can watch all these guys. Try to understand what they're doing, right? One thing you can do is, if you watch, this is what I did when I was playing professionally. When I watched Canyon's VODs, I would pause at certain times and say, what would I do here? Okay? And I'll see what he does. And I'll try to ask myself, why does he do that? I try to justify his decisions and understand why he does it. So it also helps your mind for the game, okay? So that's what helped me to improve. And I think that's what's going to help you guys to improve. Anyway, guys, this brings us to the end of the video. I appreciate all of you guys for watching. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully I was able to teach you something. It was a long ride, but I'm sure after watching this video, you guys would get much better. If you did, join the Discord, hit the sub button, hit the like button, follow me on Twitch, watch me on Twitch, buy the coaching if you got extra money. If you don't, it's fine. I'll also do OPGG reviews on my Twitch channel, so you can do that as well. If you have Twitch Prime, use it on my Twitch channel. I appreciate you all. Thanks for getting to the end. Honestly do. And this is the longest project I've been working on. This is the biggest project I've been working on. Appreciate you all, and peace. We're out of here.